Get ready to spice up your taste buds with this mouth-watering street taco recipe. Create the most delicious tacos with fresh ingredients and a variety of toppings. It will make you feel like you're strolling down the streets of Mexico. Let's get started now. We'll start with cutting the meat up. Now, let me back up a little bit and tell you what meat you can use for making these tacos. The best cuts are skirt steak, flat meat, or flank steak. And I like to use a marinade containing a citrus marinade similar to my carne asada recipe, which is out there on the internet as well. It combines orange, lime, soy sauce, minced garlic, and savory seasonings. Now stick around, let's make it happen. Now we're going to start out first with before we do the meat, we're going to chop us up some onions here real fast. Now I'm using a white onion. You can use a yellow, purple, or red, whatever they call it, or a yellow, depending on what you want. Now this is what we're going to use for topping. We'll chop it up. I don't usually like the outside of it, but we'll chop it up in smaller pieces because this is what you're going to be topping the tacos with. Now I'll also use cilantro. Now you can use a wide variety of different things for, you can put tomato, onions, peppers, bell peppers. You can use sour cream. We will use a little bit of salsa, but you can use a variety of things, whatever your taste buds feel it wants at that moment. And you can use spices on top if you want to, along with the meat that you'll already have spiced up. Chop the onions up as small as you want them. And now we'll put these in a small dish. There should be plenty there. Actually, it'll be too much, but it'll be perfect for what we're doing. Next, you'll want to get you some cilantro and try to dice it up as small as you can. Cilantro will always give it a really good zing and taste there. Put your cilantro on the bowl and set it to the side. Now I'm not going to worry about cleaning my cutting board off because I'm going to be doing the meat next. But just some of the spices that we're going to be using today. SPG. Sazona todo. That'll give it a little red flavor. Or a little red color, I'm sorry about that, red flavor. And we're going to use, of course, our picante sauce from H-E-B. Tortillas. H-E-B brand tortillas as well. And for a little sauce on top, we may be using some of this Cholula hot sauce, chipotle flavor. Now, let's get the meat ready to go. If you see here, I've got some skirt sliced up really, really thin. And I've had it soaking in this marinade for about 3 hours. And what I've used in here is Worcestershire sour sauce. We have actual lime tree, or a valley lemon tree, and this is a valley lemon, not a lime. You can use lime if you want those, but we have valley lemons growing like crazy on one of our trees, so we use them for everything. Barbecuing, spicing up things, marinating, you name it, we use them. I'm gonna get the steak out of the bag. We're gonna start dicing it up in smaller pieces and then get it ready to cook. Now, if you're using some thicker cuts of meat, you may want to go ahead and use a meat tenderizer and tenderize these things. But as you see here, these steaks are real thin, and I don't think we're going to have any problem with the meat being tender. Like I said, we have seasoned them up and marinated them. Now we're going to get to the process of seasoning them. And the first thing we're going to use is some of the Sazona todo. And we're going to this will add a little red color to it, to each piece of meat. Use it generously. And then we're going to use the SPG. Now you can use whatever you want to. It's strictly up to you. Now this stuff has some pretty big chunks of salt in it. You want to pat that in there. It already has pepper and stuff in it. If you want to add more pepper, feel free to do so. Flip the steak over, do the same thing on this side. I usually don't like really big chunks of salt like that on something like this, and I didn't realize it was that chunky. I like my salt to be a little more broke down. If we was cooking a brisket or something like that, man, that would be perfect. Once you get them seasoned up, just throw them in a bowl like that, wherever you want to put them, and do the rest of them the same way. Now, if you get a chunk of meat in there that's got a lot of fat and you're not happy with it, like I am with this piece here, I'll just cut that right out of there. And then I'll cook it off to the side and give it to my dog. So we'll season this one up just the same way. And while you're doing this, go ahead and get your method of cooking warmed up. Now we was going to actually cook these on Weber kettle outside, but the weather's not permitting that. So what we're going to do, well, we was also going to put it on Excuse me. We're going to cook it. Woo, pepper. We're going to cook them on a Blackstone griddle. But again, the weather didn't permit that. So what we're doing today is we have a griddle inside on actually a 6-burner stove that was purchased, but it had the 4-burner with 1 griddle. So we're going to be cooking them on there today. So we're going to be doing this in the wife's kitchen. She's not going to be very happy about it, but anyhow. Now remember that you can chop these up ahead of time. I think it's easier to cut them once they're cooked. They're a little firmer and they're quite a bit easier to cut up. So we'll cut them in quarters or smaller pieces, maybe 4x4s, 4x6 or something like that. And then we will go ahead and cook them. And then when they come off the griddle, then we will go ahead and cut them down to smaller pieces to actually put on the tacos. You know, there's a similar steak like this cooked in Baja, Mexico, and actually over here in the United States, in Progreso, Mexico, that is called milanesa. But it is actually a breaded steak, kind of like we are used to as citizens of the U.S., chicken fried steak. And that's basically what they use over in Mexico and other countries to get what they call the milanesa steak. It's actually really, really good. I've had it when I went over to Progreso, Mexico several times. It turned out real well. So at this point, we're going to have the onions diced up. We're going to have the cilantro cut up. We're going to have the steaks ready to cook. And we're going to have everything prepared. And the only other thing we're going to do is we're going to get our tacos ready to go ahead and brown them and kind of heat those up to actually make the tacos. So stick around. Let me get the griddle up to temp and we'll be right back. Oh, I failed to show you that we're going to go ahead and cut these up in smaller pieces. Something about like that right there. That makes them easier to cook. And then once those are cooked, it makes it a lot easier to dice those up into smaller pieces. So you're going to throw all this meat on there just like we got it right here, right now. You can hear it sizzling. Make sure you put a little bit of oil on the griddle. You don't want the meat to stick to it. And keep spreading it out evenly. Well, as you're cooking it, when you get a piece that's kind of halfway done, you take a piece of it off of there and taste it and see if you got enough salt or whatever you want in it. I do have much more fun cooking it on an open fire pit outside where I get those big old charred marks on the meat. Something else you want to remember, now if you cook this stuff too long, you'll dry it out. So right now it's time to take it off here. We don't want to cook it any longer. Next thing, put you a little bit more oil back on top of there. That way your corn tortilla will not stick to the griddle. Let it come up to temp. You want to coat both sides of the tortilla with some oil so that they don't stick. I'm going to cut this up in smaller bite-sized pieces, or if you want it big old slabs like that, that's fine too. Size pieces, perfect for these tacos. Oh, now we're getting to the good part. Now I picked up these little things down here online the other day. They're pretty good, pretty cool. You put your taco shell in there, and then you stuff your meat in it. I'll try to post a link down in the description below where you can buy these at. We've got the tortillas inside these little holders. Now we're going to start stuffing them with meat. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to show you 2 of them, but I'm going to eat all 4 of them. So we've got our meat in there like that, and we're going to put a few onions on top of that. Now, if you want to add color to it, the purple onions would really be pretty cool on there, wouldn't it? And put you a little bit of cilantro. Now you want to get you some picante sauce. Don't that look good? And maybe we'll put you a little Cholula. Ooh, come out of here pretty quick. And last but not least, you want to get you lime or lemon. In my case, it's a valley lemon. Get the seeds out of it, because it's kind of hard on your teeth. You put your squeeze that on top of it right there, like so. Well, there you have it, folks. The meat turned out pretty good. Tacos turned out pretty good. If only we could taste with our vision, this would knock your socks off. Well, guys, that pretty much concludes the video. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you gained anything from this video. We'd appreciate it. We're a small mom and pop channel, and we don't get a whole lot of views out there. And by you hitting a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, this video reaches a lot more people. Now it's time to get a bite of it. Now that's pretty good, even for an old fart like me. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe, folks.